You're listening to the Pixie Dust Fan Podcast. Hi, I'm Francine.
And I'm Carrie.
We're two best friends who can't stop talking, usually about Disney stuff.
Sometimes we have fascinating guests, and sometimes it's just us. But it's always positive and fun.
We're happy to have you join our chat. Thanks for listening, and let's get started. Welcome back, Carrie. You've been on an adventure.
I was on an expedition.
Well,
Well, it's not called the Expo anymore. It's called the D23 Greatest Fan something or other, fan festival, fan something or other. It's not called the Expo anymore.
Right. They dropped the Expo from it.
So it's D23 2024, the whatever fan celebration of something or other.
You went without me.
Why they could have just called it. I know.
Did you miss me?
I didn't have my partner in crime.
Did you miss me?
Yeah.
I
was
missed
walking
you.
around the show floor and looking at all the lines and saying, Fran and I wouldn't stand in that line. Fran and I wouldn't stand in that line, that's for sure.
Yep.
We wouldn't be standing in that line if we were here.
I watched lots of the YouTubes, but you and I actually have not talked about your experience at the Expo because we were saving it for this.
Yeah.
So I could hear it firsthand with everyone else. What your expedition experience was like.
My expedition experience, yes.
Yes.
Well, I don't know. Like, it was pretty fantastic. Like, it's hard to.
Where did you stay?
To say. So I stayed at the Marriott for
shocking
for a couple nights, 2 nights, and then I stayed 5 nights at the Westin behind the convention center. That is one nice place to stay.
Is the Westin the one? Remember the night we left and we started walking, and then we stopped at a hotel to get our Uber.
Where we got the Uber. Yep, that's the Westin.
Yeah. Oh, Carrie,
it's
that's
lovely.
A nice hotel.
It
oh, that's
is a
fancy.
very, very nice day, and the beds are very comfortable. Like, they're better than a Marriott bed.
You heard it here first, guys. She's saying that a Westin bed is better than a Marriott. You've heard Carrie go on about these Marriott beds.
Yeah. Well, and I had been the first 2 nights I was in a Marriott, and the Marriott beds were nice.
Yes.
But this is just a little bit better. And it's a night like the thing with this hotel is that I'm sure if you were in a brand new Marriott, it would be similar with like the technology, like the lights, like everything was like the pads on the wall, and you know, it was a nicer hotel because it's fairly new. Like, it was to just open, I think, right before COVID, maybe like the couple years before.
It's not that old.
Whereas, like the Marriott that I stay in is probably built in like, I don't know, the 70s or something. Like, it's like they update it and they keep it as a Marriott brand, but like the other one is really like in comparison is brand spanking new. So it's like, you know, the level of like luxury and the way they decorate and design it is maybe that's just the Westin way, but it was very nice. It was I didn't want to leave.
Oh,
like
wow.
I stayed an extra night. Like, I should have changed hotels, and I was like, no, I'm booking another night here because it was that nice. So, the hotel stay was good, and I did a couple of nights before the Expo. Our friends Curtis and Alec were there, and so I spent some days with them, and they had the D23 day. So this year for D23, they had a bunch of things prior to the actual Expo. We'll just call it the Expo because it's easier that way.
It's easier, yeah.
And so they had a night at the baseball game, so an Angels night. They had a night in like downtown Anaheim, like there's like the packing district or whatever they called, like their touristy area in Anaheim. They had D23 day at Disneyland, so that was the Thursday. So they gave out mouse ears, like D23 mouse ears, and then they had some special merch and special, like our friend Leslie was there too that day. We waited in line for like these coins out of the machine to get like D23 day coins. But they had a few special offerings, and they had some special characters, and then at 12:30 they had a D23 parade, like kind of what they do for like when they have their birthday or whatever. They have like a really short it's not a parade, whatever it's called, down Main
Like
Street.
a cavalcade kind of thing.
Cavalcade. So
right.
they had 23 characters, and they had like a marching band, I think, and they had some of them, like some of the legends were on the cars. So like honestly, I would go just for the day, just for that, because that's my jam. But it was hot as heck because it's a beautiful California summer, but I believe it's like an unseasonably warm, like so
Oh,
it's way warmer than it should be. So we were
right.
waiting like the blazing sun for the cavalcade, but again, I'd wait in the blazing sun all day for it, and it was fun. So that was kind of the expo stuff. We just danced around Disneyland and DCA for a couple days and
Nice.
stuff done. I'm trying to think if there was anything special really for those days. Just a lot of fun. And then for the expo is 3 days, and they changed it this year. They had all of the big sessions, so the like the animation and live action and the parks panel and the legends at nighttime in a big
Right.
Honda Center. So when we went, like we didn't have to wake up early anymore, although people did wait early still.
But your seat was assigned, right? Like it's like a concert where you're in row 7B, blah, blah. Yeah. Seat number, whatever.
So nighttime, that was fine. Like I can explain how that went. It was just totally different. But like the actual expo was still the big convention center with all the booths and all the sessions and whatever during the day. So when you got on the floor, you just walked around. And for the sessions, you had to either get like you did a request, like you filled in a form to request which ones you wanted to go to, and you would be rewarded one. So like for everybody that I talked to, like they really got like one. Like I got one for all 3 days. Like last year we got one per day. This year, out of all the things, we got one.
Which one did you get?
I got the thing where they were talking to the legends, but I ended up not going to that one. Like there was like, so you either have to get chosen to get a spot in the queue. And then if you don't get a spot in the queue, then you have to wait like the hour, 45 minutes or whatever before in the standby line. And I would think like most people, there'd be lots of people that probably got things and didn't go to them. So generally speaking, if you were in the overflow line, then you're most likely getting in. I would think like if you really wanted it and you went early enough, you were getting in. So that's kind of how the panels worked. Then a lot of the things on the floor also were through the selection process. So for example, they had a big Star Wars booth where they were or Lucasfilm's booth where they were doing like the ILM presentations or whatever. So like when the booth was open, you could go and like the big screens where they do like how they do the Mandalorian, like they're just in a room but it looks like they're in the desert or whatever. Like they had
like
that
green screens, yeah.
Yeah, but whatever that technology is where they do that, they had like a big screen like that. So people were going and standing in a spot and they were taking big pictures and it like looked like they were wherever they were, right? So like you could walk in and look at all the stuff and do and look and see what was going on there. But if you actually wanted to go to the sessions that they had in there throughout the day, you had to have had a spot. And if you didn't have a spot, then you had to wait. So I think a lot of the booths like had that, and then the same with the shopping. So they seem to have more like the shopping broken down a little bit more. Like they had the Disney store, they had the Disney company store, they had the Disney company pin store, they had the whatever, like everything was all separate, and there was maybe 6 different virtual queues for shopping. And it was the same thing. Like if you didn't have a spot in the queue, then you pretty much had to wait till closer to the end of the expo for when they were going to allow people to walk in. So a lot of the booths, all of the shopping was like that. And then they had this thing called the big pin pursuit. So all of the big vendors or a lot of the big like booths had a pin, and you had to go wait in the line and do the photo ops and do whatever. And then when you got done, they gave you a pin. So a lot of people were trying to go through and spend the days getting their lanyard filled with all these pins. So all of those lines and all of those waiting in lines and the pin pursuit, And the fact that like there was nobody sitting on the floors in the basement. Like, so usually,
Yeah.
people would wait all night long to get in line for the stores. They would wait in line all night long to get into one of the three big, like each day had one of
Right.
those big presentations. People were waiting early to kind of be at the front of the line so that they're the first on the floor. So like at 4:30, people were allowed to line up so that they could be first on the floor and then maybe run to their favorite booth to get a head start on it or whatever. But there was a lot of people in there. Like if I heard you hear strangers talking about it, like the floor was just busy. So like and maybe they sold more tickets too. Like that's quite possible because the area where they had the big shows was actually now like more. So they had
Oh,
more
you're
booths on the
kidding.
main. So that the one far section where we would go into the big sessions,
Yeah.
that was floor. Like they had stages and booths and
Stages and
things.
booths. Oh,
And
okay.
then they actually used when you go over to the North Hall, which is connected to the Hilton, they had stuff up there too, which they didn't use it for that before. So they definitely had more square footage for people to be. So maybe they sold like more
They
tickets to
probably
go hang
sold more
with that.
tickets. Yeah.
Yeah. So that I'm sure there's more tickets. And then the fact that like there's
There
unless
was
you were
no
gonna
need
go.
for thousands of people to be sitting on the floor in line for stuff for
No,
hours
and
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 hours and
there'd be that
hours.
like there'd be people waiting for shopping in the basement. There'd be people waiting for the big session, which maybe that held
Yeah.
like 5,000 people or whatever. And or other sessions, like they would just have everybody waiting for everything for when it started,
Yeah.
and that didn't exist really this time. So it was, yeah, it was very, very, very busy. Like so busy. Like if you and I were there, we wouldn't have went in too many lines. And I didn't go in too many lines. Like I just kind
Yeah.
of moseyed about and waited for things to kind of like if there was opportunities to like sneak into a line. But yeah, I just kind of walked around and about and I did get virtual queues for shopping a couple times. Like once I waited all day and I went in like later at the end of the day, I was in by myself because Jamie and Leslie had virtual keys for other things and they went into the other things. And I bought two postcards. I bought two Muppet postcards, like after waiting till like I didn't get in the
Seriously.
room till like 4 o'clock. And then
Wow.
the other one, I was like, I went in with Curtis because Curtis had an earlier virtual queue than me. So I went in earlier with him and I didn't even buy anything. Like the merch for me wasn't what, like, and maybe if I would have been able to access certain stores on the first day, there might have been other things I wanted to buy.
Right.
But the second day when I went into the one store with Curtis, there was nothing. I didn't buy a thing. So I was so glad I went in with him earlier in the day and I didn't wait till like again for my queue to
Yeah.
get called at like 4 o'clock for me to go in and not spend any money. So I
Wow.
shopped and I looked around a little bit and whatever, but that was kind of my Floor Expo experience. So Jamie and Leslie, like they went to maybe went to two sessions over the 3 days, like the ones in the middle of the day. But they woke up early and they went in line early. Like the first day they went really early, and then the other days they went a smidge later so that they could be on the floor early. They spent 3 full days trying to get all the stuff done, like trying to get all the pins. Like
Yeah.
they had like the Canva booth was you could print your own, you can print something on a bag. They had like really fun photo ops in the booths. They had like the thing where Mickey Mouse talked to you. Like they had Brett Iwan in the back, and it was like a Mickey Mouse that was like
Nice.
actually interacting and talking with you. Like they had all kinds of neat stuff, and the booths were really, really well done and different. But it took them. I don't know if they got everything done. I think they might have, but it literally took them three
Three
full
full
days.
days. Well, they're young.
Yeah,
They've got that kind of energy.
yeah. So it was a lot of work. Like for me, I found this year, like a lot of the stuff on the floor, like I don't watch any of those television shows. Like of all the things that they were talking about, like I liked, seeing the Pixar booth. I like seeing the Imagineering booth, but like I haven't seen any of those. The only Hulu thing I've seen is Only Murders in the Building. Like all the stuff that they were promoting, like they had this humongous booth for Abbott Elementary, and they had like crazy fun stuff in that booth. Like it was like a circus, so they had like someone drawing caricatures. They had where like you you know, when you get the mallet and you bang it to ding, like they had one of those things there. Like they had all kinds of things to do. But like they
but you
like
didn't
I
know
don't
what
know.
it,
Like
you
I don't
didn't
know
know
what
the
any of it.
relevance
Like
of it.
I have no relevance or reference to like most of the stuff they were promoting this year. So I was kind of joking, saying like I better like, you know, brush up on my on all of my
Yeah.
stuff that they usually have. So for me, like when the lines were that long, I wasn't too keen on
You were like,
like
yeah.
spending my 3 days waiting for something. And like photo ops, like I'm fun to have photo ops with you, but like I don't need a funny photo op of myself, right? Like
By
that's
yourself.
another
Yeah.
thing too, right? Like, you know, they're all like a lot of goofy
Oh, I'm
photos and
sorry.
whatever. And you know, like it's
Next time,
I'm
my friend, next time I'll be
not
there.
a
I promise.
not a priority to wait in line for 45 minutes or an hour. Like these are intense lines. Like I've never
Yeah.
seen lines like that. Like maybe, you know, the one year when they had like the big vat of like coins for the Scrooge McDuck thing when people were jumping in that,
Yeah,
like that had a
yeah,
line for 3 days straight.
yeah.
But like everything had a line
That's
for three
yeah,
days straight.
that's
And a lot of the things that we're selling, like they have the Roosevelt shirts, the
oh
that
yeah,
have the
those
characters on
button
them. Like
ups. Yeah.
you had to get like you had to get a return time to be able to go online and buy something.
But
So at certain times of the
Carrie,
day
come
they
on,
gave you
man.
cards.
Like, so you had to get a reservation to go in and buy $100 button up shirt. Those
Pretty
shirts are like
much.
$100.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, yeah. So there was like, yeah,
It
so
puts
stuff.
my like
So
34.99, expensive Disney t-shirts to shame. They're like a hundred
yeah,
dollars.
like for something like that, when it's really, really busy, and I'm not like, I'll go again. Like it's
Of
not, I'm
course
not
you
saying I
will.
had a
Yeah.
horrible experience, but, and it's really obvious. Like I don't do the homework before I go. And part of it, like I'm not too into a lot of the stuff that they're promoting, like the TV
Right.
shows. I don't know them, but you really need to know what's going on. Like if you knew what was going on and you knew what you were, you know, like if I wanted, like they had Muppet Roosevelt shirts, but I don't think they were selling them there, but like I thought they were. Like if you knew that you wanted a Roosevelt shirt, like Curtis bought one, like he knew what he
Yeah.
wanted, so he had known that he knew how to get it. So like I think that the key with that is if there's anything that you're so into, like they have adorables there, like they had like all kinds of things like those what are those cards that they sell right now? The Disney card, the ones the
The
game
oh, everybody's yelling at us right now. The I can't remember.
yeah, I have
Orkana something
yeah, the Lorcana cards.
Lorcana,
Like
that's it.
like if like you really need to if you're like me where you don't really care and you're just going to walk around and do whatever, but if you like if you really like certain things, like you like the Hallmark ornaments, you like the records from the record shop, you like if you really are into something, you need to do your homework so you know how to do what you need to do.
Right.
Because when they have everything where you have to have a card to come back to buy, you have to have a spot in the virtual queue, you have to get a spot to go in a line to do something, or you have to wait 45 minutes or an hour or more to get into something, like if you really are over the moon over things, which lots of people are, like even with meeting, like they had celebrities out, they had like just the artists, like for the people that love certain artists and animators, like you just really need to know what's there
What
so
you're
that you can be
doing.
prepared, and then you
Yeah.
can make sure that you would be able to get all the things you wanted done on your list. Because the way that it is now, with how like if you want to do some of the shows during the day and you have to leave early to go to the things at nighttime, like it's the days of going to every single booth, if this is the way
It's
it goes in the future, is
right.
long gone. Like
That's a bit of a shame.
you
That's it
really need to
because like
strategize.
you buy the tickets because well, I don't know, maybe you and I are different, but like you want to go, you want to wander, see what they have, like experience it all. And if like it sounds like it might need to be a little more scheduled, I guess.
Yeah, it would be like, especially if you had your heart set on something and you really had a specific fandom, like
Right.
a really serious, you know, fandom towards something. You wouldn't want to be let down, that's for sure. Like I think in the future, like for what I probably would do, because I would expect that this part of the expo is not going to change. Like I think I would mostly focus my days on going to the sessions, like because
Mm.
the sessions still like they're like one or two sentences, but not all of them are like this, but a lot of them have a lot of surprises, right? Like,
Right.
they say that it's this whatever anniversary, and then they bring out John Stamos and they bring out, these actors that we've loved from the
Right.
past or whatever. Like, they don't tell you what's happening really, but there's usually surprises. So like I think next time, knowing that the floor is kind of crazy like that, like unless there's something I really, really am into, that I probably would
Focus on the
be
sessions.
more strict and force myself to go to, like, wait in line the 45 minutes to go into the sessions that are most interesting, and maybe do a couple of those every day,
Right.
to kind of to supplement the lack of
No,
access to everything that's on the floor.
no, what about the Honda Center? Like, how hard was it, A, getting there, and B, getting back from there?
It actually wasn't bad at all. Like,
Okay,
um
that's
the
good.
the first night was a bit weird because, like, so when you needed to get to the Honda Center, they had buses waiting outside, bus after bus
Nice.
after bus after bus. So that wasn't a problem. And some people I think took Ubers, and some people, like, I think if you live locally, you could drive, and like, and you could park for free there.
Right.
But no, the buses seemed to work. Afterwards, I think once people caught on how they worked, then it wasn't so bad. It's just more like you need to know after what you're supposed to do. Like, you're most likely going to wait for a bus. Like the first night we did an Uber back, and like it's just busy and crazy. Like, even if you got in an Uber, like there's traffic. Even when you get in the
Yeah.
bus, there's traffic. Like, there's so many buses trying to leave. So, but I think if you know how the buses work and where to go, because there's 12, like they told us over and over and over and over again, there's 12,000 people in that building. Like, there's 12,000 seats at the Honda Center.
Wow.
So afterwards, 12,000 people are trying to leave.
Trying to leave.
But,
Yeah.
as you're going to have to wait for some buses, but as long as you know where to go for the buses, right? And that was the first night. I don't think people knew
What to do.
which way to go. And another thing they did too is if you had your expo pass on, you could ride the transit for free that night. So
Right.
as long as you had your badge, like if you live there, the bus would just drive you. You could just take the bus there, and it was complimentary to get to and from
Nice.
for the expo goers.
So
So
your seat was
excellent.
assigned. Were you seated like so you knew where your seat was? It was the same seat every night, I guess.
Yeah, you just get tickets like as if you're going to a concert. So you had
Okay.
to, so yeah, yeah, for sure. So you knew exactly where you were going. Like the Honda Center is like a big
Like a
hockey
big
arena.
concert. Yeah, it's like a big concert
Yeah,
hall or hockey arena.
yeah,
Right.
for sure. Um,
Those
but yeah,
announcements, Carrie. Like, come on,
yeah.
man.
Well, the first like yeah, the first night was okay. Like all 3 nights were very entertaining. That's what I have to say off that. Like, I was blown away with how much was invested in these three performances.
Right. And they were
So like
performances.
they were. So
Yeah.
like the first night was the live action and the animation, and the actual announcements were kind of like, man, like, they told us about, The Incredibles and Moana 2. Everything's like 2 or 3, like Avatar 2.
Yeah.
Then they told us about Toy Story 5 and The Incredibles 3. And
And
they really didn't.
Zootopia too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Zootopia
Like,
2.
hello, you just gonna
Yeah,
gloss
the
over that
bunny is
one?
back. The bunny is back is what I wrote down. I made notes in my little book when it was
Oh,
going on. But when that session opened, Bob Iger was on the stage, and like, no joke, the way that he addressed everybody, and he said, like, this is the first time I've been in front of you guys for 5 years, and blah 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 blah. People were crying. Like, you
I
could hear
bet.
people
Yeah.
trying to like
Hold it back. Yeah. Like, that's how emotional
so
that's how emotional I must have been. And he was emotional
yeah,
too, from what I
yeah.
understand.
So like that was probably my most favorite part of that night, was
Nice.
that, like, seeing that happen. But like it was just different in the past. Like, they would just give us more, like, they would bring out more of the stars. Like, when they talked about a
Yeah.
movie, they would bring out all of the actors, the writer, the director. Like, they would show you like sketches on a napkin to show you
Right.
what they're working on. And they really didn't do that for any of these things. They pretty much just
Oh,
had one person come out, and then they mentioned that it's, Incredibles 3, or, like, I
like
think
it's
for
happening.
Zootopia, they had like they had Ginny come out, but I think they had Jason Bateman's voice on a cartoon or something or whatever. Like it, but and even before, like even like we've seen so many new animated things at the expo that totally changed by the time they came out, and that was okay. Like they would like it would be so early, they would just tell us whatever they knew or told us a story, and then maybe by the time the story came to life and we were watching it in the theaters, it wasn't exactly the same, right?
Right.
Like Inside Out was probably not exactly what it was when they first told us at the very first expo, when they were showing us like the
When it was
little
just an
scratches of what it
idea.
was going to
Yeah.
be,
Yeah.
right? Like so that's the part that I really liked about it, because I don't know,
Yeah.
it was all right, but they still had all kinds of entertainment in between and whatever, and there was lots of like lasers and whatnot, but yeah, it was just meh, like the actual news part of it.
Right.
So like yeah, I think even like the Avengers stuff, like because the San Diego Comic-Con was just like a week
Well,
or two
yeah. So
before,
they
so
had
like all the
announced a whole
Star
bunch
Wars
of that
stuff
stuff. Yeah.
and whatever. The one thing that was really cool, and this is the thing too, they also talked about like Disney on Broadway, which is what they wouldn't usually talk about, and they talked about stuff that's coming on National Geographic. They had David Blaine came out, and he's like the magician. I don't know if you know who he is.
I
Have you ever
feel
heard
like
of him?
I've heard of his name, but I don't really know him.
He's like a like on TV like Vegas type magician, right?
I might need to Google him. Yeah.
And so when we came in, they gave us an envelope that said "Do not open," and none of us opened it. And towards the end of the show, he did a magic trick with 12,000 people. So when we opened up
Wow.
the envelope, there was a deck of cards, and he was telling us to like cut the deck here, look at this, cut the deck again, cut the deck sort of like this, and
Right.
then when we all like flipped the card, we all had the card he said, the whole friggin' place.
Oh, that's awesome.
And as he was going on, like as he was starting, I'm like, are they going to say this is like a world record or something for like a
Right. For a
card trick?
magic trick.
Yeah, for a magic trick, but he was saying, yeah, but he didn't say that, but he said he had never done a magic trick with 12,000 people. But
Wow.
so that was pretty good. But
Nice.
but other than that, like live action Lilo and Stitch, like Lilo and Stitch just jumped through the screen and did a little like 10-second trailer, and that's it. Like clap your hands, Lilo and Stitch 2, folks, or whatever. Live action
Right.
Lilo and Stitch, like that's what it was like. Like everything was just sort of kind of basic. But they like really the card trick I think was the
That's pretty cool. That's
like,
pretty
and
cool.
he's on some sort of a documentary or whatever that's going to be on Disney Plus, National Geo or whatever, right? So that was the
Right.
tie-in for that, but that was kind of the steal the show sort of thing.
Yeah.
So I thought that was really entertaining. I laughed and I was like, wow, that was pretty entertaining until the next
Right.
night. The next
Okay.
night I realized I think that they took the budget that they would usually have on the first night and they
Yeah.
put it on the second and the
Put it
third
all
night
in the
for
second and
sure.
third. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Because the second night was the parks panel,
Yeah.
and like I guess they really like when I've heard some people talk about it, and like I guess they didn't really give us too many details. Like they really like they gave us a lot of info about what's happening. Like they didn't really dig down. They did give us dates of when
Yeah.
ground was gonna break and when things should be opening or whatever. But there was a whole lot of like bells and whistles and lasers and fire and whatever in between. So, um, it was spectacular. Like I'm trying to think of some of my most favorite things. They had Pentatonic, which is an a cappella band. They came out a couple times and sang, which was really, really awesome. Trying to think of what else they did that was awesome. They just had lots and lots of musical performances, and I don't know. It was just really, really good. Like I couldn't believe it. Like my jaw was dropped.
So
Like
what
I
was
was
your
like this.
favorite part of that night? Like what was your favorite announcement? What are you most
Um,
excited about from that?
like honestly, like I don't know that. Like I think across the board, everybody was excited about Monsters Inc. Land, like having Monstropolis come to the parks. Like I think that was the most surprising thing because I think a lot of it, like we kind of had an idea. We knew about Zootopia coming to Discovery Island, right? We knew
Right.
about
We knew about
we
that.
knew about the Family Magical House coming to Animal Kingdom. We knew about Indiana Jones. Like we knew about a lot of that stuff. But I think what really took me by surprise was the Monsters Inc. land and then the four new DCL ships.
Yeah, that
Like I
was
thought
pretty
that they
big.
were going to be,
Four new
we would have lost
DCL
the
ships.
farm
Like,
on that bet.
oh my gosh. Like that
Like
was
we
like,
were,
whoa.
yeah, we were talking
Yeah.
before, like doing our guesses about what and about DCL. I was like, well, maybe they'll give us information about the adventure of the sea. Like they told us it's coming, but they haven't told anything. And then they said four,
Like four new cruise ships. Like it's
yeah.
crazy. Now, what about
But
Villains Land?
yeah, Villains Land, like it was really neat. Like it was almost like they were closing the like it almost seemed like they were wrapping up, and then like because they had already done what was coming to the parks, and then they came back and said that Villains Land was happening, and then yeah, like everybody went kind of crazy. Like they
Yeah,
had they
that is so
and all those big
exciting.
things, yeah, and like all of those big like when they announced things, like they had some sort of musical act or whatever, and like they didn't have big musical acts, but they had like really they had some decent entertainment for sure. Like again, when you get to the third night, we're going to talk about like star-studded stuff,
Yeah.
but like they just had really good, like the people that they had performing was awesome. They did the funny thing with about Deadpool. So they had
Yeah.
like Deadpool crash the presentation, and that was kind of funny. So like I think there was a lot of like there was a lot of comedy. Like they started it off with the guys from the guy from Soren and in recreating
Yes.
the the Soren thing. Like they they put a they put a lot of effort into value, like adding pluses to the presentation that really spoke to the fans.
Right.
Because really, like if they just told us, you know, if they just one after another told us the what was coming, like they would have been done. Like it would have been done in an hour and a half. It was 3 hours. It was a
Wow.
3 hours finale or whatever.
That
Like
was pretty
it was
awesome.
just yeah, it was just nonstop. So I was like, wow, that was very entertaining. Like that makes like every other one I ever went to, like, yeah, what I just couldn't
Yeah.
believe it.
Pale by comparison.
Pales by comparison for sure.
Yes.
For
And
sure.
then
But yeah,
what about the
sorry.
third night? That's the star-studded. Actually, Curtis, our friend
Oh
Curtis
my
did.
God.
He sent me a picture, a text message the one night, and he's like, "Look,"
Yeah.
and I could see Harrison Ford sitting next to Jamie Lee Curtis. Like
Hmm.
he was so close to him, like you could see him. I was like, "Oh, my boo."
I
My boo.
yeah,
He's a legend now.
I took a video of it, and I was gonna put it on the Google Drive for you. And but it's a pretty, like I did this whole speech or whatever. And then I really, like, it's already on Disney Plus. Like my Aunt Carol was watching it yesterday.
Oh,
She
I
just
haven't
couldn't.
watched it. Maybe I'll watch that.
Yeah, it's already
Yeah.
on Disney Plus. Um, but yeah, so the third day, like I never went to Legends before, and like this Legends, it was jam packed full of like
Oh yeah.
amazing legends, like awesome, crazy, a crazy list. But again, like even if it was only like half of the people, and then other people I didn't know, like this, like the way that they put it together in the entertainment level was like
Next
through the
level.
roof, like
Yeah.
next level. Like yeah, like Miley Cyrus is a legend. So like the girl that they brought out to sing before Miley Cyrus is like probably, my Aunt Carol was like, she's one of like the most popular, like newest country stars ever. And I'm like, I have no idea who she is, but she sang a lovely song. They
Right.
had yeah, like they just had, it was just nonstop. They had celebrities, like they had celebrities introduce celebrities, which I didn't know. Ryan Seacrest was the host. Like I had
Yeah.
no idea. Like I really had no idea. Like I thought like there'd be like, whoever would be the host, like I don't know, just someone Disney who would be the host, and then they would call up people and they would do their 90-second speech. Like I didn't know that they were gonna have like someone talk, for 5 minutes about someone, then show a video and then have the speeches or whatever, and then have entertainment in between and have musical numbers and whatever. Like I had no idea it was like that. And it was like it was excellent. Like it made the other two nights look like, they were good. They were all very good, but the last night was like, it was just mind-boggling how amazing it was. Like it truly was. Like the
So
stage, the lights, the everything, like it was amazing.
is it like a full D23 on Disney Plus, or is it just like the Legends night? Or did they do
I
like
think
a
it's just
whole
the. I think I don't know.
D23?
I know the Legends is on Disney Plus. I would think the other stuff you'd have to pick it up on. You'd have to
Hmm.
probably pick it up on YouTube.
Okay. Yeah, I'll
But
have to take a look.
yeah,
That's
it was
awesome.
it was spectacular. Like it was
Favorite
really truly.
favorite moment of the whole experience.
I don't even know if I could pick one. Like I know the yeah. Like Legends as a whole was probably my favorite thing. Like
Yeah.
they had when they did the announcement for the Walt Disney like animatronic at
Audio animatronic.
Disneyland,
Yeah.
they had Megan Trainor, all about that bass girl.
Yeah. Yeah.
They had her sing Feed the Birds.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna tell you, she said like that song, like she was meant to sing that song. Like everybody couldn't believe it that she had a voice that like we knew she had a nice voice, but her voice was absolutely beautiful. I don't know how long if she had to train particularly long to like master that. Like
But
just generally, right? Like
it
it's just
perfectly fit her voice.
like to perfectly be able to sing the song the way that it needed to be sung, but she sang it like unbelievable.
Nice.
Like not, I'm sure not anybody that like that knew that would there'd be no dry eyes in the house. Like that
So
was
you were
exceptional.
choked up. Yeah. So
Yeah, it was a good.
so this is they're putting the audio animatronic of Walt Disney, and that's a little bit controversial from what I'm hearing
Mhm.
now.
Yeah,
Is that part of his family are okay with it, part of his family are not okay with it.
yeah,
Um, but they're bringing Walt Disney to
hmm,
life, quote unquote, in an audio animatronic at Disneyland.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So it's going to be in the Great Moments with Mr. Lincoln, and it'll go back and forth between that and the Great Moments with Mr. Lincoln.
Wow.
With Mr. Lincoln or whatever it's called.
I mean,
Yeah.
Walt loved audio animatronics. Like he loved how those came to be and to stretching to see what he could do with them.
Mm-hmm. And then to become one.
And then to become one. Like it sounds kind of perfect to me, but I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll see how they
Yeah.
pull it off. Like as long as they do him justice, then it should be good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's been a lot of controversy already about the Cars land, like them putting cars in Magic Kingdom. People aren't loving that because it seems that the Rivers of America might be going away. And
Yeah,
then the other
people need
thing,
to get over that. Like things change.
I'm okay with it changing at Walt Disney World as long as it doesn't change at Disneyland. That's
Gary's
the
like,
big, like that's the
fine,
big,
rip up everything in Walt Disney
like
World. It's
I
okay.
find out of everything that was that was released, like that was a big one, and then the Monsters Inc. land, like where are they actually
Yeah.
going to be putting it at Hollywood
Oh my
Studios?
gosh, people are
And they're
losing their
already
marbles.
well, because yeah, like they might, Muppet Courtyard is a big contender, right? So
But
that's what people are
I
saying.
thought people dispelled that based on the map that they showed and the things that they said. I think it's
Yeah,
Tom from WDWNT. He's convinced it's over the other way.
yeah, yeah, for sure. I think so too. It didn't even cross my mind that they would take away Muppet's Courtyard, but yeah, I would
Yeah.
hope it's on the other side.
No, I think they've got
So
a whole
that's
bunch of space out there.
but everything else was pretty much just kind of everyone's excited about what's happening in the park. So
Yeah, it's very
and
exciting.
lots of years of exciting things to come.
It's exciting, but part of me is like, I'm happy to know it, but I'm gonna forget by the time it's. Do you know what I mean? Like it just seems so far out of reach
I know.
that it's
That's why
kind
I
of
take notes.
like it's nice to know, but like when am I gonna get to go see it? I don't know. So
Mhm.
that's the part that yeah,
Yeah. So,
excellent.
but yeah, it was awesome, and I would strongly suggest everybody to check out the Legends
Yeah,
on Disney.
yeah, I'm
Like
gonna check that out.
the caliber of it, like it's just on like at one point, like at the very end, the finale was like John Williams, the composer, like the Star Wars music and indie music and all kinds of other stuff. He wasn't there to accept it, which is kind of sad because we were kind of like that's a pretty cool legend. But what they did was like they had like an orchestra on a second level on the stage. So like the stage is the stage, but they had like
Right.
a secondary, and there was a whole orchestra up there. And then at
Wow.
one point, like the bottom part of the stage opened up and like stormtroopers came out. Like,
Oh my
did they need to
gosh.
bring stormtroopers? No, really. Did they need to even have an orchestra? I guess they did. But whatever. Like that's how like that level of finale. Like it was
That's
just like one thing
awesome.
after another of that high level. Like you think,
Total
that
entertainment.
it
Yeah.
could have been a boring night with that as a finale, and everyone would have been like, "Crap." But it was like stuff like that, like all night long, like one thing after another of just
Nice.
awesomeness. So yes, I think everybody should
So
watch it.
everyone should
And
watch that.
I'm gonna go back and watch some of the old ones and see how that one was way better. I think it
Yeah,
would be.
I bet.
Anyway,
I do think
so
I
yeah.
too I did listen I don't know if you saw Lou Mangello WDW Radio had an interview with Josh tomorrow after that.
Mm. Oh
He
yeah,
and
I haven't
it
watched that yet.
Yeah, so give it a listen. It's actually a pretty good episode, and he's asking Josh tomorrow, like, because he apparently they kind of poked fun at themselves about the blue sky and
Oh, they
how
did.
we
They
don't
did. It was
deliver
awesome.
stuff, and Josh was talking about how he embraced that. Like we heard you, like we heard the
Yeah.
fans, and
Like
we are addressing everything that you guys have told
they
us
did.
is driving you crazy. So
Yeah.
that he addresses that in the interview. It's actually a really good interview. So
I'll have to
WDW
listen because he
Radio.
definitely
Yeah.
like that's how you feel about the Parks panel. They just delivered it in a way that they knew was going to
Yeah.
make people that would make people happy, whether it made them happy about the news, happy about the joking and the whatever,
Yeah.
happy about like the fun that it was or the entertainment value. Like they just like all around made it so
Yeah.
that it should be said like everybody should have liked it for multiple reasons or at least a few reasons. Like they really grabbed everything and it was very obvious. Like it was funny, it was entertaining, we were laughing, we were crying, we were clapping.
Yeah.
It was just they were definitely pleasing the
Yeah.
audience. And then I wonder, like, is that like, is it going to be like this ever again? Is this a one and done? Like, did they really,
I
did they
don't,
pull out
well,
all the stops to impress us? Because we paid like double for our tickets, right?
I
Like,
know. Well, yeah. So it depends what the price is, I guess, next time, whether they do the
mm-mm,
same. But Tom, his one of his YouTubes, he was talking about how well Josh Tomorrow did in that
mm-hmm.
presentation, and he said he just sealed it for CEO.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah, I think so too.
he just sealed his spot for taking over from Iger.
Yeah. You're not like, and that's the thing, when he's on the stage, you're not wishing that Bob was up there. So we have a
Yeah.
fun, like Curtis wanted to get his picture with both of them.
He sent me his picture with Josh. He didn't get
Yeah.
his picture with Iger too, did he?
Well, this is so I took the picture of him and Josh,
Oh,
and
did
I
you?
shook
Oh,
Josh's hand, and we said
nice.
we talked to him for like 2 seconds, and Curtis wanted the picture, so I'm like, here, gotta get your picture. So then the next day, or maybe I think it was the next day, Curtis was like, I want to get Iger next. So like I'm like, come on, let's go, kid. And we're over and we're trying to we're the three of us are like following or whatever. And he is like like high security, obviously.
Yes,
And he really can't stop. Like he wasn't being rude, but
he can't.
he was like, I
Yeah.
gotta keep going, I gotta keep going. And we heard him saying that to people or whatever. So we but Curtis was there just in case he had the opportunity to be like Mr. Iger or whatever. But the joke is, so we couldn't get close to him, but we got a selfie with his bum.
Hey,
So
as
there's
long
a
as you got a
picture.
part of him.
Yeah, we got a selfie with his bum. So
Oh,
that's our memory of Bob Bogger. But like honestly, that man could have they could have a booth just for people to sign
to
to
see
wait in
and say
line to
hello. Yeah,
shake his hand and say hello, nice to meet you, and get a picture. Like
I
he
know.
legit would have a booth. He get a booth as big as the biggest ones there with the biggest
Yeah,
lines. Like everybody loves him.
I
Like
know. He's
and
so
Josh is walking
fantastic.
around and meeting people and talking to people, and he was good. But yeah, Bob was kind of untouchable. But like there's when you're there, like the one thing I think Curtis was surprised about too, or maybe excited about, like there was like he saw like you see celebrities and people that are important. Like if you know what you're looking for, like
Yeah,
you're standing beside like a director or a retired Imagineer or an Imagineer or
Yeah.
whatever. Like,
If you know
yeah, like
them, yeah.
if you know them, like you see them. Like I saw, like, you're coming in from your. I was leaving one night and I saw someone walk by and it's like he was probably just at the food truck getting something and coming back in. Like some of these guys walk around like they're not Bob Iger that needs security. They walk around the expo like you can be standing there and look and Pete Doctor's right beside you and be like hi. Like there's so
Yeah.
many opportunities. And if you follow any like YouTubers or anything, like you're gonna see them all there
Oh,
most
yeah.
likely. Like there's but like the celebrities, like seeing like just, the high profile ones are harder to get to, but just, you can just kind of see them here and there, make a big list. Like they were going to make a list on the way home. They were going to make a list of all of the people that they saw to kind of to
That's awesome.
catalog
Because
all the
this was
people
their
that they,
first expo. So
yeah,
that
they
was,
really
yeah,
enjoyed it.
they
Like
really enjoyed it. Yeah.
like I've had a few friends go where it's like they're one and done. They didn't like the waiting on the floor and all that stuff. And I think this was like a perfect experience for them. Like they're definitely
Yeah.
coming
Oh,
back.
they'll be there
So
next time. Yeah.
yeah,
Don't worry.
it was
I'll be there with you, so you'll have an old lady to hang out with when the kids are running around.
and the kids are running around. Yeah.
Now,
But yeah, it was really good.
we did gloss over and we didn't. So there was, I know we've been chatting forever here, but you were a photographer for somebody else while you were in Disneyland. You sent me that picture. Um, you
What up,
didn't,
Terry?
huh?
Which picture did they send? The one of me and Terry?
Well, you saw Terry Harden, yes, but you
Yeah.
were actually playing photographer for someone in Disneyland in front of the castle.
Oh yeah. There was two. Yeah, I forgot about that. It was Chris from TDR Explorer. I was excited
Yeah,
to see him. He's the only person that I approached of all the people that are there that you see, like that are YouTubers. He's the only one that I approached, and he was in front of the castle taking a selfie. And I went up to him and asked him if I could take his picture for him, and then I had a little chat with him. So I saw him, and then on the Sunday of the expo day, Terry Harden, who's the Imagineer and puppeteer, she was at the expo, so I went to go find her. Like I was on a mission to
nice,
find her, and when I saw her, I told her that I was part of her tribe because she has Terry's tribe, like her Patreon thing. She's got a
yeah,
tribe where they do Zoom calls and chat about all their stuff and encourage each other and whatever. So I told her that I was a tribe member. I was from Canada, and I told her I don't get to go on the Zooms because of my magical job or whatever. And she's like, Carrie, have a seat. So then I sat with her for like half an hour, and like everyone's coming up and chatting with her. And then she said, and then we walked over to another booth, and like everybody knows her, wants her picture, and I was
nice.
helping take pictures of people. And then like she was having a dinner that night, and she was encouraged. Like I knew that they were having a dinner, like her tribe. And I was meeting some of them, and they're like, "Yeah, come," because I'm like, I don't know anybody in the tribe, and they're like, you should come." But by the time like that was over, like I had some bad news from home, so I didn't really feel like going to
Right.
I didn't really feel like going for dinner that night. But I'm gonna message her and follow up because she said like reach out to me and let me like remind
Yeah.
me who you were and all that stuff. And I'm gonna try to get on a call and meet her tribe, and it seems to be like a very good, like she just like it's just encouraging, like
You
she
should.
people just
She's
they
amazing.
yeah, like that's her thing. She wants people to connect. And like, even when I said I said my magical job, and when we were walking, she's like, "So tell me a little bit more about this job you don't like." And I'm like, "Well, it's not that I don't like it. I go, I call it a magical for a different reason, right?" Like that's what she like. I think that's what she does with her group. Like she wants, you to
She wants
talk,
to
like
know people.
whether,
Yeah.
yeah, like how do you get to what you want to do? Like whether you're an artist and trying to do what she does, or whether you're like an accountant and want to be the best at what you do. Like she just always wants to like encourage and have a spot for people
Mhm.
to talk. And I think that's what a lot of her tribe is about. Like she wants to have a space where everybody can support each other or whatever. But yeah, that was awesome. And I got a picture taken with her. So I was really, that was really the only reason I I wanted to go on Sunday to see the Imagineering booth because they were putting out stuff
Yeah.
that they had announced the night before, and I
See
wanted to see
her.
Terry. And once that was done, then I think I pretty much got it a dodge, and I was going back to get ready for the Legends that night. So
Nice.
yeah. Mhm.
Well, it sounds like a good time. I'm sorry I wasn't there with you.
It
Uh,
was a good one, Fran.
next
It was a
time,
good one.
next time. I know my
Would have
vacation
won you for
days,
sure. It would have won you over for sure. Like
the
that one would have
unmagical
been.
job and all the, Schedules
magical
don't
thing.
alive. Yep. Yep. But I'm
Well,
glad you
hopefully
had a
too, like
good
I
time.
guess the next one, like if I don't think it'll be a different month, I think, because what Leslie was saying, because she's huge with the Olympics, she loves it so much. She was saying that this time would be the Olympics. So I
Oh,
would
okay.
expect that they wouldn't have the expo the same time as the Olympics, maybe. So it quite possibly could be in a different month. Like maybe it'll be in September or maybe it'll be earlier.
Hmm.
Like I don't
Okay.
know, maybe they would, but you'd think that they would maybe avoid it.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
because I would think when the Olympics come, they probably like everything
I would think everything
within
kind of has to
hundreds of
focus on
miles would be
that.
booked
Yeah.
and busy and whatever. But so
Yeah.
yeah,
Awesome.
yeah.
Well, yeah, we'll plan for that in another couple of years. But
Yeah, usually 1 year in advance they tell us. That's
yeah.
what they
So we'll
used to do. But
next
I don't
year.
know if they do that if they did that this year.
Ah,
But, yeah.
cool.
I'm
All
expoed out.
right.
I'm home.
You're home. And
Yeah,
we're getting this record. We got to figure out our recording schedule too, because you're
yeah.
home. I'm leaving tomorrow, which is why we were trying to get this recorded today, and we'll figure that out when we
Well, the next
after.
episode we'll be able to talk about your adventures.
Right. We just have
It
to
should
figure out
time.
when we're going to
The
record
timing
it.
should be right. Yeah.
Yes. But anyway, it's time for your pixie dust, Carrie. What brought you pixie dust this week?
Do you want me to use? Do you want me to use my real Pixie? Do you want me to
Yeah.
use my?
Use it. Use it.
Okay, so I'm actually retiring from my magical job in a mere 10 days. By the time that this is live, I will be only a couple days left
You'll
of
be
work.
on your last few days at work?
I'll be on my last few days of work. I'm going to focus only on magical jobs in the future. And today, all of my managers at work took me out for lunch.
That's
And it
so
was very,
nice.
very nice because I got to have some really wonderful conversations with them. A few of them, especially, telling me about, what they thought of me and thanking me and all of that stuff. So
Oh,
it was,
that's nice.
like, it was an opportunity. I probably wouldn't have connected with them that way otherwise, right? Like,
Yeah.
because, I've got like 80 people in my department to farewell to or whatever. So I really liked that it gave me the opportunity to have that one-on-one and have some really good chats with a few people. Like the ones
Nice.
that I probably won't have a good chat with before I
Right.
leave, right?
Right.
Um, so yeah, it was
Oh,
really nice.
that's
That was
nice.
good. It was a good day and a good lunch. And that's why I didn't have to
Good.
have dinner right away so we could record right after work. Because I
That's
had
why,
a big
because
burger for lunch.
you had a nice lunch. You
I had
had
a big
full
burger
and
for
wheat.
lunch. And so I was like, let's do it now. So then I can eat dinner after we're done the call. So
Nice.
yeah. So that's my pixie
Nice.
dust. How about yours?
That's good. My pixie dust is I bought this thing because I'm going away and I'm sharing a room with somebody else. It's when I share with Carrie, like Carrie and I are like, it's just so easy when we share a room. But I like to scroll on my phone before I fall asleep just because it helps me. But I don't like having earbuds in. So I bought this thing. It's like it's like a headband. I think runners use it or something. But it has like two little speakers in
You don't
it.
usually use it in bed.
I think runners use it or something. I don't know. Anyway, it's a headband with speakers in it. So I'm hoping that
Is it Bluetooth or do you have to plug it into something?
I don't know. I think it's blue. I hope it's Bluetooth. I gotta read the instructions. Like I don't know how it works, but I'll let you know how that goes. But yeah. So I have my headband. So that's
I think I think it's funny, like, because we're kind of the same. Like, I can fall asleep in 2 seconds, and I think you kind of are the same way too. So, like,
yeah,
you think you need it for scrolling, but you probably only scroll unless you can't sleep. You
yeah.
probably only scroll for a couple minutes,
It's
anyways. Like,
pretty much, pretty
yeah.
much.
So,
Yeah, yeah.
hopefully it doesn't mess up your hair. You're
I
gonna wake up
know.
with what is it called? A bandana head.
A bandana head. I'll look like I have a mullet or something from the 70s. Like I should be, hanging out on Fast Times at Ridgemount High or something with
If that happens,
Spicoli.
you have to take a picture of that one
I
for the
will. I
Instagram.
will. Yeah,
That's
true.
awesome. Hey,
Oh,
and I'm laughing, but you'll probably say it's awesome, and then I'll buy one.
and then you'll buy one. Probably.
I can watch YouTube in bed with my
Exactly.
my
Exactly.
bandana on, my
Oh
speaker
my
bandana.
gosh. I'll let you know how it goes. I'll let you know. All
Excellent.
right. Well, if you've made it all the way to the end of this podcast, thank you so much for listening. And please leave us a rating and review. Tell your friends if you enjoyed it. And I guess we'll chat with you next time.
See you real soon.
Bye. Thanks for listening to the Pixie Dust Fan Podcast. We hope you enjoyed the episode.
Make sure you're following us on your favorite podcast player so you'll get a new episode every week. And find us on social media too. We'd love to hear from you.
Till next time, remember, you are never too old to be young. Chase your dreams and design your own happily ever after.